I'm always looking for ways to show my cat how much I love her. And with Fancy Feast gems, I can pamper her whenever I want with a savory gravy on top of a gourmet mousse pâté. The pyramid shape makes serving simple, so all I have to do is peel and plate to make mealtime feel extra fancy. And with 2 entrees in every pack, it's easy to turn every day into the extraordinary. Fancy Feast gems.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
A reminder that Pack Your Knives recap episodes starting next week with episode 4 will be available to paid subscribers ad-free as soon as Top Chef airs on Wednesday nights. Become a paid subscriber at packyourknives.com.
Not only that, you'll get lots of other perks, access to bonus podcast interviews with Top Chef VIPs, Pack Your Knives community chats, digital events with us, me and Kevin. What about maps, reviews, and recommendations of restaurants owned and operated by Top Chef alums, and more?
For free subscribers, you'll receive the recap episodes in their entirety with ads early the following week. Tom, did the good Lord intend for us to fry cheese?
Yes, you're talking to a Greek guy who loves saganaki, the whole pan, you torch a little thing of cheese and you throw some lemon on there and some olive oil and there's a whole flame. That might be an Americanized thing. But yeah, saganaki's amazing.
Searing cheese, yes. Breading cheese, no. This is Pack Your Knives. I'm Kevin Arnovitz.
And I'm Tom Haberstroh.
Tom, we are officially in the heart of Wisconsin, Top Chef Wisconsin Season 21, because the cheese challenge is upon us. We have also Door County cherries, beautiful Door County, home of Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin, in the little panhandle that juts out into the lake. This was an interesting episode, not my favorite, and for reasons we'll talk about. We did enter our first kind of top caterer, top concession, massive challenge, cooking for 1,700 people or whatever it was. But we're starting to kind of get, the field is starting to separate a little bit. That moment early in the season when whatever impressions you might have from the first episode about who's strong and who's weak, now the wheat and the chaff starting to separate. I feel like we're now officially, throat clearing is over. Here we are. I know who the chefs to beat are. I know who's hanging on by a thread. What say you?
I agree. I was not a huge fan of this episode. I think the first 2 were much stronger. The prompt, the conceit of the cheese, and then in the beginning, kind of the doors, didn't really follow that all that much. I thought Carla was fantastic. Carla Hall, of course.
Yes.
Of Top Chef fame, season 5, and then returning on season 8. No comments on her. She was fantastic, and I thought the judges did a great job. But I felt like we'll get into the elimination challenge, and there is a lot more parity, I think, than we realize. Is that yes, the wheat is being separated from the chaff, or whatever metaphor you want to use. But I felt like Manny had a big misstep in this episode in ways that was surprising. And I think it was, it was I don't know, one of those things I thought about in the beginning was, we already did the beer and the cheese in the first 3 episodes of Wisconsin. It feels a little early to bust out your 2 big guns, doesn't it?
Yeah, and now not only this was with frozen custard, of course. I want to speak on Carla Hall because actually she was one of the highlights of the episode. She has this really great combination of just unbridled enthusiasm, and boy, is this cool! And the requisite corniness that goes on with being a good host at the beginning, and the dad humor and the puns, with good food analysis. Because she's a really good analyst. Nobody is better at just like one or two sentences when they do the cutaways to the judges kind of mulling over, well, how did that taste? Of just sort of summing up the strengths and weaknesses of a dish. I thought she was great. But yeah, I think that there were a couple of real Top Chef truisms in this show. Like Manny, as you said, had a misstep, as did Kenny. Rule number one of the rules of Top Chef is if you hate your ingredient, you're going to fail. Manny did not like getting cheese curds because cheese curds are terrible, to be honest. And I know I will get much protest mail from Wisconsin for saying that. Or Quebec as well. They're very big in Quebec. That's poutine. Oh, and then also it was very clear that Kenny hated his marshmallow and he failed as well. I didn't even like kind of the quick fire in this sense, right? Like Door County is the place, right? So how did the chefs get to pick the ingredient that they would be responsible in the quick fire for pairing with the cherries? Oh, by opening a secret little door on the little platform. Get it? Door. But here, and Tom, you're better at gamesmanship than anybody. And so here's what I would ask you. Okay, someone gets to go first, Rasika, because she won. Well, is there any advantage in picking the little robin egg blue door versus the little yellow one with the level handle? Like, no. What if you did this, Top Chef? If you insist on having the secret ingredient that you have to pair with the cherry being a real element of strength or weakness, have the first person that you want to reward, Rasika, get to choose her ingredient. And if the game is after that, she chooses who goes next, because that's kind of cool, Tom. You love that dynamic where, hey, a chef has to employ favoritism to find out who's going to get that advantage. If Rasika says, hey, I want to give it to Danny because Danny's a cool guy, because we like to run together in the early mornings and out in the streets of Milwaukee, and I respect him as a chef, whereas I don't respect these people as much. Fine, give him the second pick and let him choose the actual ingredient. Let him say, hey, you know what? I like cipollini onions, or actually that was Rasika's, or I like soy sauce. Maybe I'll do that versus, oh, I don't want to be stuck with condensed milk or whatever the ingredient might be. But instead, they just do this kind of random thing where they get to pick behind the door. So it was another, I thought, lost opportunity where they could have deployed some real gamesmanship, and then watching each chef get to choose who chooses next, and then who's kind of the ugly duckling left on the school ground, who's the last person to choose because no one chose them. Which, again, you know, there's this element of, I guess, gentle cruelty to that. But at least it provides for good television. It provides for some personal dynamics that otherwise went missing.
So I was raised Catholic, Kevin, and we used to do, I don't know if this is true in non-Catholicism Christianity, but like we had the Advent calendar. The Advent calendar is the 24 days leading up to Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
You open the little...
I live with a Catholic, and I end up eating more involuntary chocolate, I call it, by punching the little Advent door. Is that what you're talking about?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
The only thing I know about Catholicism is I end up eating chocolate I don't want to eat because it's sitting behind a little paper door.
Exactly. It is one of my favorite things as a kid is on the 13th of December, you get to open up a little door. First, you have to find the 13, and then you open it up, and there's a little wreath full of chocolate.
Wait, you wait till the actual date? We eat all that shit beforehand.
Oh, come on, man.
We're done by the 8th.
You have no patience?
No, of course not.
Of course, when it comes to food, we have very little patience, especially when it's little trinkets of cartoonish chocolates. So I have experience in opening doors with surprises, and there's a instead of a stocking of chocolate, like Charlie literally got chocolate there for his secret ingredient. And so I thought about the Advent calendar. I would have liked, like you said, what if you did Advent calendar but White Elephant style? White Elephant, of course, the gift-giving exercise that a lot of, we do it every year at the lake house with friends. You bring something, and then there's a hierarchy of like, hey, if you have the number one pick, you get to, steal from somebody, right? And if, depending on your order in the pecking order, you can have the best position of like, all right, once everything's settled, I can now play the field and say, you know what? I want the condensed milk. Don't think anyone would want that as the number one pick. But Rasika gets the first pick, but like you said, there's no real advantage when it's all random. It's not like you know what's behind the door. That's the whole conceit. So then I thought, Kevin, what if they did a white elephant style? But then, third thing that occurred to me, she already has an advantage by getting the immunity this round. So in this new format where the previous Elimination Challenge winner gets the bonus of getting immunity in the next episode, do they also get an advantage in the quick fire, or is that too much of an advantage? Like, should Rasika also get an advantage in quick fire and get a head start on the $5,000 prize? I don't know. On one hand, I see the allure of having that carrot for the Elimination Challenge winner, that not only are you going to get immunity, you're also going to get a head start in the quick fire. But in this sense, she didn't get any head start. You're not getting any leg up on the competition by opening up the big red doors with the Cipollini onions behind it. So where are you on this? Are you for the, in addition to immunity?
In general, I'm for rewarding excellence. So like I would provide, I love like getting 2 buys in some of these pro tennis tournaments in certain structures. Like I think by and large, if you win, you should get massive advantages in this show. But as you said, the point's kind of moot because it's not as if the advantage was a real advantage, like getting to choose the red door versus the orange door with the lever or the little framed blue door didn't really matter. I mean, you were going to get whatever was behind there. So that's neither here nor there. Now, actually, Cipollini onions turned out to be
the winner.
An advantage only because, but I don't think it was the Cipollini onions. I think what we're learning here, Tom, very early on is Rasika is a force to be reckoned with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You've now started whipping up the scoring sheet that eventually we're going to have available to the public very soon. But Tom, what we're learning here is there's some jackrabbits here jumping out in the race to a pretty healthy head start. Rasika is one of them because she wins the quickfire for the second straight week, adds another 5,000 to her kitty. By cooking the onions in a very nice tart cherry juice. She does a charred pickle relish, Burberry spice, incorporates, and I think here's the key, incorporates dried cherries into the dish to maintain its cherryness, right? Because that's sort of the thing, and you get that texture and you get that just the dehydrated cherry really just kind of, you're not going to lose your cherryness, which is what happens, I think, to a lot of these chefs. So what we're learning here is Rasika is a force to be reckoned with.
And I'm getting over my cherry allergy. Okay.
Oh, you're not a cherry guy?
I'm not a cherry guy, and here's why.
Interesting.
As a kid who grew up in the 80s and early 90s, what did I have when I was sick? Cherry flavored cough syrup.
Oh, you had like the tussin.
Ugh, disgusting. And I don't think it's warranted. I think actual cherries and the artificial flavor of cherries, probably not really all aligned. But in my head, I have this psychological barrier, aversion to anything, cherries or cherry flavored Twizzlers. I don't like cherries because of the cough syrup that my mom would pour in the little cup when I was a kid when I had a cough. So when I got the cherry kind of quick fire theme here, I was like, oh, I would not enjoy this if I was the quick fire judge, if I was Clea Duvall or Carla Hall. Not a fan. But I feel like I'm growing out of it, Kevin, that I'm growing out of my anti-cherry agenda. And maybe I would need to eat these meals, these dishes to get over that. And I'm sure there are people out there listening who feel the same way about cherries, that as if they didn't have cough syrups, the generic brand, the most prominent flavor be cherries, maybe I think the cherry business would be thriving a lot more than it is. But anyway, kimchi, black garlic, chicken livers, king salmon, et cetera, et cetera. Rasika wins with the Cipollini onions, and we see Savannah and Kevin do very well here. But the Kevin one, it seemed like kind of, I don't know, if you got black garlic, is it all that inventive to do like a beef tenderloin with some garlic?
Yes and no. And actually I have this note here because I do think one way to go in this kind of quickfire challenge where it's, hey, you have you have to feature an accompanying ingredient, right? Cherries, right? You can't make an entree out of cherries, but you can, right? So what you do is you pair the ingredient with a well-executed protein that's very forgiving, right? So we often see oh, I'll take the cherries. I'm going to do a flank steak and execute it beautifully. In his case, I'm going to do a beef tenderloin and execute it perfectly. Oftentimes, Tom, you'll recall in quick fires like this, a chef will do a scallop, right? So everybody loves a seared scallop. It's very hard to screw up a seared scallop, right? So you do the protein and you say, hey, then I'm going to use the ingredient prominently to highlight that protein, right? And so I think Kevin had the right idea. That's a very smart strategy. You know, you saw Danny kind of do it too. Hey, I'm going to grill a skirt steak because I got bamboo shoots. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll do a bamboo shoot and cherry gremolata. I'll do a cherry gastrique. And so I tend to like if I were a quick fire person, that's exactly how I go. I think the smart way to go, if you're not a dessert specialist, is choose a well-executed protein that you can nail, and then kind of dress it in or use the ingredient as the primary accompaniment, really highlight it. And I thought that was smart to do. By the way, I thought it was funny because I was like, chicken liver is what you want, because there's nothing, Tom, you've had it in a million restaurants now. Chicken liver mousse or pate as a starter was highlighted by what? Like a beautiful cherry sauce, or sometimes date. We were at Bastille last night, and you do the little date sauce.
Something fruity, something acidic, yeah.
Something fruity, right? Like that could do it. And I thought Savannah, she got, as you said, for the shishito pepper, the big cherry vinaigrette, panzella salad, sauteed cherry with livers or something. You can do that as well. So, but I think Kevin, I think, did actually have a really good strategy, because that is a tried and true, what the hell am I going to do with cherries? How do I make a dish out of cherries? Oh, you don't make a dish out of cherries. Make a dish out of a protein and then highlight it with cherries.
Kenny, man. Kenny got a short end of the stick on this one, pun intended, with the s'more marshmallow. I'm with him. As I grow older, maybe I'm getting more fonder of cherries, but I am out on marshmallows. It's dry. I think I like it when it's over the fire, but then the graham cracker and the chocolate gets all sticky, and I don't enjoy. Who enjoys bringing a wet towel to the campfire and having to chew on your hands to get the glued on marshmallow off your fingers? It's not very pleasant when you're in the woods. But anyway, that aside, Kenny, I feel like marshmallows is low on the draft order, right? Like if you're drafting these ingredients, marshmallows are pretty fucking low.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it's also, first of all, it's bad to hate your ingredient, and I feel badly for them, but you can't hate your ingredient. Secondly, I'm with you on the s'mores thing, because the other thing about the marshmallows, once it gets on your fingers, it starts becoming a conductor for like all the charcoal and the burnt wood and all the other schmutz that you end up with. Yeah. If you touch anything,
the ashes from the fire, the embers that are flying in the air, you're suddenly a fly trap for that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a problem. And look, I thought he recovered nicely conceptually. I think to do s'mores with a marshmallow with cherries is actually kind of nice, because, you do that kind of Black Forest cake kind of type s'more, maybe. You get the cherry sauce. He tried to fry the cinnamon. He did, I'm gonna do the sugary rice paper roll for the crunch and fry that. And actually a trick he's been doing a lot in the competition with rice paper rolls. But yeah, that was ugly. I give Charlie some credit insofar as he had one of those sins of commission as a challenger, right? I have a chocolate, maybe I'll do charred beets. Is there a world where the earthiness of a beet you can be combined with the delicate sweetness of chocolate? He does a demi-glace with chocolate cherry. You do love those combinations, but then the smashed potatoes, it did kind of get a little bit, it sounded weird. It's one of those you can't totally dismiss it until you tasted it, but they tasted it and dismissed it. Alicia did kind of one of those charred cabbage errors. Cabbage is tough in a quick fire, Tom, because I don't know, like cabbage is one of those things I love, but man, you really have to cook the hell out of it for it to be good. If you undercook cabbage, I mean, it's one thing in a salad, obviously, shredded cabbage, and in a Vietnamese salad is really delicious if it's tossed with the right acid-based dressing. But man, if you're going to char cabbage, you really got to char the hell out of it. I do a miso charred cabbage right now that I love as a side dish. But you got to have time. Quick fire never provides time. And so she suffered in that one.
Hello, listener. It's Producer Maze here to talk to you about Quince and their cookware. Cooler nights mean cozy meals at home, and Quince's cookware has made fall cooking so much more enjoyable. Their pieces deliver the quality and performance of luxury brands, but at a price that makes sense. And they look gorgeous on the stovetop, too. No matter what item you need to complete your kitchen, Quince has you covered with 5-ply stainless steel pots and pans, nonstick skillets, chef-quality knives, and even ceramic bakeware, which is perfect for cozy casseroles or Sunday roasts. And when you look at these prices, you might think, how is Quince doing this? How do they deliver high-quality items similar to high-end brands that are half the price? Well, let me tell you, they partner directly with ethical top-tier factories to cut out the middlemen and pass the savings on to you. And it's not just cookware. I got myself some bath sheets. That's right. When you're a tall man, you have to use bath sheets, not bath towels from Quince. It's like drying off with the cloud. It's incredible. Upgrade your kitchen for cozy fall meals with premium cookware from Quince. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings.
Listener, listen up. This is important, okay? I'm going to try to save you some money here. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. You may think like, oh, that's bad. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. You heard that correctly. $15 per month. Ditch overpriced wireless and the jaw-dropping monthly bills. And of course, there are all these hidden fees and stuff, but at Mint Mobile, plans start at $15 per month. All the plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text. You're not doing like weekend and nighttime minutes or anything like that. And it's delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Don't have to get a new phone. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. I switched months ago. People have asked, did you actually switch? Yes, I actually switched months ago. And I don't know what to do with all this extra money. I've cheated the system here. I've rigged something. This is an Ocean's 11 situation where I'm stealing wireless from Mint. That's how good a deal it is. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/dings. That's DINGS. That's mintmobile.com/dings. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Hello, listener. It's producer Maze here to talk to you about Kindred. Now, close your eyes like Owen Wilson during a job interview and imagine a way to travel that feels personal, comfortable, and connected without the price tags and the sterile feelings of hotels or short-term rentals. Now open your eyes and stop using your imagination because Kindred has made it very real. That's exactly what they do. Kindred is a members-only home swapping network. It's not a hotel. It's not a short-term rental. It's a smarter way to travel where each stay feels like home. Here's how it works. With Kindred, your home is your ticket. You earn credits by hosting fellow Kindred members, and then you use those credits to stay in over 220,000 homes in more than 100 cities worldwide. There are no hotel costs or rental fees, just the credits that you've earned. Every stay comes with white glove service, 24/7 trip support, and $100,000 in host protection. Make it easier for you to travel and enjoy yourself and not worry about details. I've used Kindred and I found an amazing home for a weekend getaway in an idyllic location with amazing views and great ambiance. It had everything I needed. And the best part was, it cost me $0. So apply now at livekindred.com and use code DINGS to join for free. Plus, you'll earn 5 nights of travel credit just for signing up. That's right, that's 5 whole nights for free at livekindred, KINDRED.com, code DINGS, DINGS, livekindred.com, code DINGS.
Any of the Midlands that you thought were interesting? Did we learn anything about any of the other chefs? Any you want to comment on there?
No, that just about does it. I mean, there's kimchi is an interesting one to have to do. The pancake, Dan, bless his heart, I don't think kimchi is an easy one to do in 15 minutes, I guess, or whatever the quick fire 30-minute challenge window is. But it was kind of a really cool moment to see like Michelle grab her secret ingredient and be like, I don't know what this is. What is this? Is this a ginger? What? It's ginseng. Would you be able to pick out ginseng if you had to, like your life depended on it, Kevin?
Only a little bit, because I have this like ginseng tea that I like to drink when I'm like not feeling well. So it's herbal tea that's kind of, and it is kind of, it's honestly, of the teas in our house, it's kind of the grossest, but it actually, I do find has very nice sick night qualities to it. But yeah, it kind of looks like this like squid with these tentacles. And so the logo of the tea is the actual ugly herb, which looks like a squid with these little weird hair, like tentacle type things. But yeah, I wouldn't be able to pick it out. It's not a huge thing. But it is huge in herbal Chinese cooking and medicinal products and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, like we had Manny, who I thought would have a layup here with soy sauce. It feels like soy sauce. It's one of my favorite condiments. I love salty, umami flavors. And it seems like soy sauce would have been a huge, home run for him. With the roasted pork belly, didn't land in the top 3. We didn't really get much of a reaction. It was one of those quick fires where like he presented the dish as we talked about last week, and then we just kind of get to the next person. So we didn't get really too much insight there. And then he gets, a layup ingredient on the first one with the soy sauce, and then gets a really shitty one with the cheese curds in what turned out to be the elimination challenge of croquettes. This, Kevin, wasn't my favorite elimination challenge for a number of reasons.
No.
Talk to me.
Yeah, okay. So one of the strengths of Top Chef is the range of elimination challenges, right? Sometimes chefs are preparing the most elevated food in the most rarefied settings. And sometimes they're cooking for 100 people in 95-degree heat. In the volume game, those cooking for a gazillion people, it has an important place in the show, and I want to acknowledge that. And in fact, what makes that first challenge special, the very rarefied, elevated challenge, is in many ways the existence of the second. You do love the range. But I just want to say, I don't love the food fest cook for 100 people format for this particular challenge. And here's why. I think, given what cheese is, it would be so much more interesting to ask the chefs to do an elevated dish with cheese rather than just battle the elements, right? And you saw a little bit of that, right? Danny did a little bit of this with his fritter with Mornay. But instead, what you got was half the field doing croquettes. Now, you can indict the contestants and say, well, they just weren't very creative. But I think it tells you something. I think it tells you something as a challenge producer, if half the field is doing the same thing, Tom. I think it tells you something. If one of the winning dishes is literally, store-bought cavatappi macaroni and cheese. Like, it's something that didn't even come up in the show, right? We had what I thought, I'm sure when you were watching, Tom, like, holy crap, she bought boxed pasta.
Yeah.
And ends up winning.
A real faux pas.
Yes.
That's a taboo. Do we need to bring Sarah Bradley on here to talk about when you do a store-bought prepared food, you're going to get raked over the coals.
Exactly. And so what I think is the results showed us. In fact, you even had a moment where Gail, after tasting something she quite enjoyed, said, oh, great. That was another lovely fried ball of goo, or whatever she said, right? And I just think that, like, cheese, you don't see cheese other than pasta. Let's put pasta in its own category of, hey, you do see the most technical and elevated cooking often employ cheese. But you don't see it employed with proteins a lot. Like, it's usually comfort food, a chicken parmesan or whatever. I just think that, like, there are times where I do appreciate you do want the big set piece of a challenge. All these diners and the public, and oh my God, I have to cook. The paper plates are flying away, and the bees are out, and locusts, and the 10 plagues, and all of it, and the elements. I think we all love that. But I just felt like with the cheese, like honestly, there was nothing. Was there anything you couldn't have lived without in that thing? And I just think that, yeah, you do want chefs to have to battle the elements. I would have, rather than saying go the other way and said, I want y'all to elevate cheese and really bring it to the kind of sort of fine dining plate you don't see cheese a lot with. And I thought that was the missed opportunity. And that's just my feeling. I think the final tally showed it. I don't think there was any dish that we're ever going to go down and say, oh, remember episode 3 when she whipped. I mean, it's just, there's nothing there that frankly looked all that appetizing. And I love cheese, as you do.
Yeah, this felt like Manny getting the cheese curds was almost like the champion of the NBA getting the last pick in the draft, where it's just it's a structure that disincentivizes winning. It tries to, cheese curd as an ingredient. I feel for Manny where they were like, wait, did you just put
It's a quick fire, Tom. It's a quick fire.
Yeah. Did you put the cheese curds on? Like, did you just put it on your, yeah, I just put it on the dish. I will say though, doing the gravy on a fried cheese or the fry that he did, not a smart move by Manny. And in ways that if this was the first episode, Kevin, and he had done this, I think he would have been in the bottom of the draft on the opening, our Pack Your Knives draft. It was that much of a question mark for me, the execution there. Even though he got a dud ingredient, it seemed like the judges, no matter how good that fry or that gravy was, it wasn't part of the spirit of the episode. And so there's that. And then the sheer range of I don't think it's a coincidence that Michelle won this episode, because she got the Pleasant Ridge most honored, most awarded cheese on planet Earth. And she gets that. And she did a great job with the collard greens, and it looked amazing. The potato fritter, and it wowed the audience and wowed the judges table. But come on, you got the best cheese in the region. You got LeBron James. You're doing an event in Ohio, and you happen to get the kid from Akron. Of course you're going to win. So I felt like that was kind of, I know that, look, maybe other cheeses are better and maybe not the most awarded, but it did feel like one guy getting cheese curds. And I'm talking about someone who has Michelle on her team. I felt like it was a little unfair.
I want to talk about Manny's because I want to praise him in his failure. I think there are times, Tom, in Top Chef over 21 seasons where really talented chefs act out at what they think is the stupidity of the challenge.
I'm going to sprinkle this on here. Yeah.
I'm putting Manny on the couch here, okay? And this is all speculation. The news desk has not reported this out here at Pack Your Knives. This is just speculation, and there's a part of me, like my bratty side, that kind of admires Manny for this. Manny was so clearly put out to get cheese curds they are the leftover. I mean, yes, as you said, Michelle gets this lovely Alpine Gruyere-ish, gorgeous honored cheese. He gets crap. He gets breadcrumbs. Okay, he gets the sewage of cheese. Okay, cheese curds. They're just awful. And I'm sorry, and I know people from the upper Midwest are going to slap me back, and God forbid Quebecois.
I think cheese curds needs a branding makeover. Just calling it curds.
Curds. I mean, exactly.
It sounds like turds. We should probably rebrand.
And I think Manny acted out. I think Manny knew he was talented enough that he would not go home. And he was clearly, of the 3 bottom chefs, he was the one that was safe. It was clear. He did at the end of the day, they liked his gravy. I'm going to do poutine because that's what you do with cheese. As he's even said, there are only 2 things you can really do with cheese curd. You can fry them up or you can put them on poutine, right? And he chose correctly, right? You're going to do the poutine. But instead of French fries, I'll do a potato croquette because that's what we do here in this crappy challenge. Everyone's doing a croquette because that's all you can do on a 95-degree day. And you can't even really do that because it's too hot. Manny was acting out. He hated the challenge. He hated the ingredient he got. He hated the conditions. And Manny's a really skilled chef. This is a guy who's whooping up Pasoli with this gorgeous just face the other day, and now he's relegated to this. He's pouting. He's sulking. And as much as I don't honor that as a human quality, adults shouldn't sulk when they are up against adversity, I kind of feel him. Manny, I feel you, man. You got screwed. You got a terrible ingredient. This is a dumb challenge. You skated by. Bless your heart. Yes, you should have incorporated the cheese into the thing. All the judges were correct, by the way, and the judges were correct for digging him. Everyone played their role here in this dumb challenge is kind of my opinion about Manny. So that's my view on Manny.
Okay.
Can we do Michelle? Because I think I like doing kind of the top and bottom. God, Michelle's so creative. She's so generative with her ideas because, Saag paneer is a dish I love doing at home, right? And saag paneer is that sort of what you almost call like steakhouse Indian greens, right? Like it's that cream spinach, really mustard greens if you're being technical. And she does it as a coconut curry. And then the paneer is usually, the little cubes of white cheese that the paneer in Indian food, you sear up and put in the spinach. She says, oh, no, what if we do the paneer as a potato cheese croquette? And I thought that was so brilliant. So she kind of does a play on saag paneer. It just works because she's technically also really good for all this. Hey, I'm just a barbecue pitmaster. And I love her humility, right? I'm just a barbecue pitmaster. I'll just put a hog on a spit and roll it around. No. You are freaking awesome. You are a technical wizard. She nails it. Yes, you're absolutely right, Tom. She did get the first round draft pick. She did just, Tim Duncan landed in her lap. You bet. She gets the Pleasant Ridge Reserve. But you got to look, other people got nice Alpine cheeses and didn't do a lot of hell with them. I got to be honest with you, right? Like, just because you got a good, nice Alpine cheese doesn't mean you win this competition. Amanda did nicely with the raclette, which is probably maybe the most similar one. But, it's harder to do. But I just want to give Michelle credit.
And you know what? I love hearing you lap praise on my number 2 draft pick on Michelle. So continue if you ever wanted to wax poetic about her gifts and her brilliance as a chef. I'm all ears, Kevin. And I will say, we need to get to the bottom of this spillgate, okay, on this episode. A couple people slipped and fell in the kitchen.
Oh, that's my next note.
Dan overcomes that.
Tom, you're the finder. I want you to find out. Tell me... Just dive into it, Tom. Dive into it. What did you see? I know when I saw, it was a chain reaction, but I want to get to the bottom of it. You're the finder. What did you find?
TomTheFinder.com. Subscribe to my NBA Substack right now if you'd like. Anyway, promo done. I want to talk about this. Kevin, I feel like Laura is getting a bad rap here.
I do too.
Laura fell on something, then was blamed for not cleaning it up. Rasika says, hey, Laura, if you drop something, clean it up, please, in the most sweetest way possible, but a little bit stern. Rasika, points the finger at Laura. Then Dan gets upset because, hey, I'm already dealing with Kennedy's disease, and I got fucking banana peels. I'm on a Mario Kart raceway, and then there's banana peels in front of me. Can we please do something of clean up on aisle 7? Laura, though... I feel for her. She fell on the mess initially, and I don't think we got a clear picture of who was responsible for the original sin.
Oh, yes, we did.
Okay. What am I missing here, Kevin?
If you go back, Charlie spilled cream, or a little Charlie does the spill. And he does that thing which you're supposed to do, which is you alert the kitchen, spill, there's some, whatever it was. But the answer is, clean it up sufficiently. That's the problem. You're in a very time challenge. You're under, taking 5 minutes to even, to clean up, it can really screw your prep. But it was Charlie who spilled, did not sufficiently clean up, left the conditions slippery enough that then Laura sloshes her thing. She does not sufficiently clean up. And then Dan, who can least afford it, given all the adversity he's dealing with physically, takes a spill. So Charlie was the initiator of the mess. So, and did not sufficiently clean it up. So, Now, God, it's that's sort of my read. I went back and watched it. I watched the Zapruder tape, man. I went back, and it was Charlie who initially spilled the cream,
Charlie spilled the cream. We're going to have... Zapruder films and t-shirts. Charlie spilled the cream. You spilled the beans. You spilled the beans here. So you've got it all figured out. I think that was a interesting moment in the kitchen. Is I think Laura got a bad rap there. She's innocent in this.
I don't say innocent. She is. At the end of the day, when you spill, you still, just because the previous person left it, you got to do your part too.
In the NBA, when a fight happens or when a guy elbows someone, it's always the guy who retaliates who gets the tech, right? It's the one who gets elbowed and then swats at the guy who initially elbowed you. And of course, the guy who gives the hard elbow doesn't get the tech. It's the one who swung afterwards to retaliate. So I think that axiom here is applying just as well, is that Laura's getting the retaliation when she, yes, Probably shouldn't have left it there. But you know what, Charlie? We're on to you, Charlie. We saw what happened. And I think my Laura on my team is exonerated somewhat. And I would also say, Kalina, well done, Kalina, showing why I picked you very high in the draft. And Kenny goes home for a dish that I think is representative of his issues in this season. He was on the bottom 3 with a disjointed dish that I think he recognized, yeah, I got a bad ingredient, but I still didn't execute. And then here, look, I feel bad for him. There's a lot of unfair circumstances that have afflicted these contestants in this episode. He doesn't get the initial round of the judges table with all of his ingredients intact. And we've talked about this before, Kevin. In Restaurant Wars, there is a statistical benefit in serving the judges last, right? There's value in the order of Restaurant Wars. You want to get to the chefs or the judges at a particular time, so that when you get behind, right, you want to serve the judges first, because then things get backlogged and it's important to get those judges first. In this episode, Kenny has basically the backwash of his ingredients and has to come together with a dish and recognizes, look, I'm fighting the elements here. I don't have all my ingredients. I'm kind of screwed here. But I even think, even if he was the first person to give the judges, this was not a particularly well thought out dish.
No. And the truth is, it's not even about, hey, he ran out of relish or he ran out of time or he didn't manage. It's a bad concept. Crab rangoon salad. I mean, look, Gorgonzola. You've got, along with Rasika, who got the other blue, basically. Like, do something with fruit. Do something with nuts.
It's a big, bold flavor, Kevin. You should be able to taste it.
Exactly. Do something. Highlight it with fruits or nuts. It's summer. There are all kinds of things in that Whole Foods you can do. You might not have a pastry background. Maybe you do a dessert. Maybe you do I don't know. But what are you doing? Crab rangoon salad. And again, I think we always praise cook your food as this thing that is an important principle that chefs should follow in Top Chef, and they should. You should cook your food. You should be an authentic chef. The cooking should be an expression of your strengths, of your principles as a cook. I think sometimes you can take it a little far, and just because crab rangoon salad is, hey, I grew up eating it, and it's comfort food to me, know the challenge, know the ingredient you were assigned. Gorgonzola, it's not going to highlight your ingredient. It's not going to be good on a 95-degree day. Gail Simmons called it mush on mush or whatever, and she was right. It was watery. It was a bad concept.
It was. And I was still surprised that he went as high in our draft as he did. And I don't think he vindicated people who picked him that high on the chef's table board, but he did a cheese dish that you couldn't taste the Gorgonzola cheese, which is hard to imagine how poorly you have to execute a dish that you can't taste the Gorgonzola.
All right, listen up, nacho chips. Quiet down, crispy potatoes. This is the moment Velveeta's been preparing you for, and you're not about to crack under pressure. Today's the day to go all in on the drip. Velveeta's Heat and Eat Queso is the MVP of any game day spread, so stick by them, and you'll be golden. Now get out there and make delicious history. No tailgate party is complete without Velveeta.
Welcome to Sephora. I'm looking for a perfume that's not too perfumey. I got you.
Serum moisturizer or moisturizer serum.
Let's get into layering.
My concealer is making me look worse.
Sounds like the wrong shade. Let's get you matched.
There's only one store that really gets what you're going for. Get beauty from people who get beauty. Only at Sephora.
Hi, Let's get you a basket.
Then there's Kevin, who did, actually, I thought he was going home with this dish. He was my pick to go home before they announced that it was Kenny. And Kevin had a double fried truffled cheese.
It was a truffle and ham croquette, right? Like that's what it was supposed to be.
Yes. And it did not land. And, he tried to make a fix because of the temperature. It didn't work out. And I thought he was going home, Kevin. You were how afraid that your guy, Kevin?
Yeah, because here's the thing. And he is right about the conditions, right? I mean, I don't know what you do other than say, I'm going to double bread this to have it stand up to the heat. The problem is that it's not just that you get this gloppy battery, as Carla said, it got too eggy. One of the other judges said you also lost the seasoning, right? Because again, the process of adding more breading, you're essentially diluting the seasoning as well, right? You lose the things about the dish that are tasty, right? The hamness, the breeness, whatever salt content is already in there. So it was like it was one of those things where the Lucille Ball machine just started taking off the heat. And there was no way he could get the dish back to where he needed it. Again, croquette was probably the wrong way to go. Given that situation, I think there was a little skepticism. Hey, is this what you really want to do with brie? But yeah, I thought he was maybe going home. Maybe it spoke to sort of both those two dishes. Manny, to me, was safe from the beginning. There were a lot of also decent dishes, to the extent that there were any decent dishes on the day. The other two, by the way, what did we say? Tom, I want to get your view because you're very good at sort of, I think, understanding kind of the wisdom of the crowds. Did you find it interesting that the top three and bottom three of the entire crowd mirrored the top three and the bottom three of the judges table themselves? I thought that spoke well both of the crowd and the judges and of kind of justice in general.
I wrote it down in my notes how fascinating it was that all of the responses lined up with the judges perfectly. I mean, there wasn't they were pretty harsh on this one particular chef. We actually liked this one. Or, hey, they thought it was a great dish and, they didn't execute the cheese very well. And I think it was kind of reassuring that the editing on the show, the elements on the show, it all lined up, that there weren't any sort of like, some curveballs that maybe we didn't pick up on something. And it seemed like pretty clear who were on the top and who were in the bottom. So Michelle wins. Kalina, also on my team, gets 5 points. Michelle gets the 10. Dan on your squad gets 5. Kevin and Manny survive. They get 0 points. And right now what we're seeing, Kevin, is you're still in the lead. Team Kevin is still in the lead with 40 points because Rasika is the number one scoring chef testant so far in the second and third episodes. I'm not including the first episode here. She has 15 points. And Michelle has 13 points. My number one pick, Danny Garcia, has 4 points. But of course, we have to talk about this other thing.
I do want to talk more about the dishes for a second. I think Dan had another strong showing. This is a guy who's not put out a bad dish.
Yep.
He drew manchego, and he did a potato dumplings with his cheese fone, olive tapenade. He had a little fried potato for crunch. And Carla, who just, again, great analyst on this show, spoke about just how he kept his textures light, particularly important on a hot day, on a day where you're doing cheese, which is heavy. And something that is just inherently heavy, right? You've got to be careful. And, I think he is really demonstrating, along with Michelle, it was very similar to me. What that dish reminded me of was Michelle's charred corn sauce with her lobster pasta in the first elimination challenge, which she finished on the top of, right? Which is just the ability to make food that is savory and potentially heavy, really light and delicate. And Dan is showing a lot, very quietly, is just putting out great dish after a great dish, even when he's in the middle as he was in the quick fire, strong showings. Kalina, I want to give credit to. Again, she went with a boxed pasta. It spoke to kind of the lameness of the challenge, that boxed pasta could be the second or third place dish. But hey, Merlot braised mushrooms and breadcrumbs, that looked delicious. I'm not going to deny it. Look, boxed pasta can make a great meal. It happened in this case, but and then Rasika, because I had her kind of fourth, right? They really liked.
Ooh, I had Danny fourth on this one. I thought the fritter was a crowd pleaser.
Oh, that's interesting. You know what? I'll go with that. The Danny, the cheddar fritter with the cheddar lime mornay, which they really love, the foam. You're right. But even Rasika doing the kind of the rice cake, the paniyaram, with kind of folding the cheese into the cake batter. By the way, a good demonstration for how Kinney could have succeeded at his dish.
Yeah, and Gail was slapping the table. Fantastic. And she was excited. So you know what? I could have seen Danny and Rasika both be in the top 3 in this one. And of course, hey, the empirical evidence suggests that Dan deserved to be in the top along with Kalina. But you know what? I gotta say, now that I'm thinking about it, does the audience know about the box pasta part? And do they care about the box?
They obviously didn't. I have to imagine the judges know she didn't do homemade little cavatappi for 100 gazillion people, right? But Rasika is also interesting because there was a moment in this show that I thought was very revealing of her as a character and why she's going to go far in the competition. She asked Manny, who was clearly having trouble, "What's your backup plan?" And he's like, "I don't have one." Now, I thought that was less revealing of Manny because I think Manny's a great chef who just had a bad day with bad ingredients and a bad challenge. But you can tell that Rasika, just as she had a backup plan the previous week, I've got the nitrous, or not, what I call it nitrous oxide. It's which is actually laughing gas.
Liquid nitrogen, yeah.
Liquid nitrogen. I know, yes, yeah, the nitrous oxide, which would really add something to these challenges, right? She, what's your backup plan? She has contingencies in the kitchen. Well, you must have contingencies when you are going to succeed at Top Chef. Actually, I wouldn't say that. There are chefs who fly by the seat of their pants and win. I think most chefs need to have contingencies, but she also showed me a lot in that sense.
If you do a redraft today, I think Rasika might go number one. That's how good she's been. Mm-hmm. And I think Michelle would be in the running for the number one pick. I think Manny falls.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think you're seeing Rasika be a real contender here that she didn't really show in the first episode, but ever since, I think she's been the best chef out in the competition. So to wrap things up on the elimination challenge, because next week we have a double elimination with Buddha is going to be on the show on Top Chef next week. There's a double elimination, which is interesting given Last Chance Kitchen. We had a little bit of a controversy in Last Chance Kitchen world. And I think we need to talk about this, Kevin, because we had the same question after the first episode. We weren't imagining things. It was kind of odd that David Murphy, after being eliminated, said, "I'm ready to go home." And Tom Colicchio didn't say, like, "Hey, I'll see you in Last Chance Kitchen." It was noted. And then after we watched the second episode, people were like, "Hey, look, there's going to be Last Chance Kitchen, so we'll see." If you watch Last Chance Kitchen, the debut episode, which we love Last Chance Kitchen, the digital offering with Tom Colicchio, and they do a cook-off one-on-one. It wasn't David Murphy going against Valentine. The show announces that this new chef, for the first time in Top Chef history, is being entered into the competition in Last Chance Kitchen. His name is Sue An. He's a former professional golfer, we learn, who also is been trained under some of the top chefs in the world. Not literally the branded Top Chef, trademark Top Chef, but has some really culinary bones to him. Not just a pro athlete, but also he's cooking out of Chicago. He has his restaurant, and he enters through the Last Chance Kitchen doors. And this is significant because there's some confusion about why David Murphy is not in this competition. Typically, we see the eliminated chef go to Last Chance Kitchen in the consolation bracket and work his way back into the competition. But we find out on Instagram that David Murphy, when he posted something, a fan was just like, "Hey, why aren't you in the thing? Why aren't you in Last Chance Kitchen?" And he responded with a very, I guess, coy kind of response, is essentially saying, I can't explain any more than I have NDAs. So, Kevin, I don't really know what exactly happened here. And you call me the finder. I'm just going to propose a theory here. What happened? We got a little taste of Sue An's story. And in it, he said he got married 2 months ago. And I'm wondering, do you think he okayed being on the show? He was selected to be a Top Chef contestant. And then he said, "Oh shit, my wife, my fiance, she's going to kill me. I have a wedding in 2 months and we can't move it. What do we do?" And maybe this was the backup plan, Rasika's backup plan. She proposes, "Hey, Top Chef, Magical Elves, look, let him have his wedding." I'm just speculating here. Maybe we bring him in as the first Last Chance Kitchen chef testant later in the competition, after the nuptials, after the honeymoon. You can come in. We really want you to be a part of the show. We just got to figure out what we're going to do with David Murphy.
I like your theory. I like your theory. It is sort of some kind of dispensation for scheduling or marriage. Because like Sue An's a real chef in a real city at real places. And he's going to be a force to reckon with, by the way. I'm going to predict right now that he is going to win out in the competition in Last Chance Kitchen. And judging on his first performance, I feel very confident of that. But with his beautiful little fish and chips with the little rice pearl crunchies.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. The lobster. So that was very nice. And go check out Last Chance Kitchen. I still think it's one of the great kind of digital successes and how you turn a conventional TV show and create an extra digital element. I've said it a million times. It's a great thing. But Tom, I like it. I wasn't aware of this marriage thing, and it makes all the sense in the world. A little scheduling dispensation, consolation prize. You're not going to be able. We can't halt production for you to get married, but hey, if you're able to, once we ramp up Last Chance Kitchen, maybe we'll do it that way. I kind of like your theory there. We'll have to get to the bottom of it.
So then the double elimination challenge throws a wrench in this because now you're going to have Sue on against Kenny, and then there's going to be a double elimination. So then there's going to be 3 people in Last Chance Kitchen. Maybe we're going to have like a very early re-entry into the competition. Maybe Sue on comes in like week 4 or week 5, which would be crazy. But you know what? There are always curveballs in Top Chef world, and with Kristen Kish hosting, maybe we're going to get another revamp of Last Chance Kitchen in honor of Kristen Kish. I will say, Tom was great in this episode. So was Kristen, Gail, all of it. Fantastic. The judges were great. And I'm glad to see Last Chance Kitchen back. And as a reminder to our audience, we will do a recap of the Last Chance Kitchen a week later, like we always do, just because we won't have access to it. But that is Last Chance Kitchen recap. That is the Elimination Challenge, or the 3rd episode with Carla Hall. My closing thought is I can't wait for Buddha. Buddha is really exciting to have as a guest judge. He is in the running for the GOAT Top Chef ever. He's been great on this show. He now has a blog, recap blog at People Magazine, which is really cool. Go check that out. So Kevin, Rasika is ramping up. She is a beast to be reckoned with. And I think you would agree, if a redraft happened today, I think most of our listeners would have her number 1, many of which.
We are starting to see an elite form at the top. For Tom Haberstroh, for producer Anthony Mays, this is Kevin Arnovitz, and this is Pack Your Knives.